There's two parts to our regulatory burden reduction report that we published in April this year. One is a set of 19 specific legislative proposals by the European Commission or legislation in place in the areas of sustainability, digital and internal market, where we outline why they are too burdensome for the industry and how they can be improved via simplification, withdrawal, or new revised proposals. The other part is a 10-point action plan of fundamental principles of what we would call better regulation. So how should good lawmaking in the EU look in the future? Because one thing is clear, on the one hand, we can amend and simplify some of the existing rules, but we also need to make sure we prevent new rules from being complicated again and costing us much in terms of regulatory burden and compliance. So we need to work both. We need to correct the current system and make sure new legislation is made according to the highest principles and standards. Oh, I think this would be far too long for a 2-minute answer. But there is, of course, a number of legislations that are extremely burdensome, either because they are unclear, so there's legal uncertainty for business, they are overlapping, there's not kind of a clear communication between two different or three different pieces of legislation, or another aspect, they're simply excessive in terms of what they require companies to do in terms of incident reporting for cybersecurity or in terms of restrictions on chemicals legislations. So there are classical patterns in legislation that make them so particularly burdensome. One, these aspects are essentially picked up now by the Commission in the various omnibus proposals. So a lot of the burdensome regulations we identified in the report are now being looked at and revised as part of this process, a process that we as Orgalim very much support together with CECE. It's a mixed performance, so to say. The parliament this year is highly political. We have different political majority options. So the natural process for some of the omnibus files going into the parliament is that they are being very politicized. And we're seeing a lively political debate on these. On the one hand, from a democratic decision-making process, I think that's a good thing. On the other hand, as we've seen on the first omnibus proposal on sustainability reporting, these fragile majorities have led to a temporary collapse in the decision-making process. So now we face a delay on an issue that is of critical importance for the industry. And a lot of associations, as a result, in the past days have clearly said, we need the parliament to act quickly. They need to get their heads together and support comprehensive simplification position on Omnibus 1.